Galactic Council Report 334-66690, year 173403, by Lady Lysandra Duskhunter of the Shalty. Rough Draft version 3. New species introduction parameters. Self-designated name, human, humans. Classification, bilateral biped. Niche, endurance predator. Diet, omnivore. Natural weapons, overpopulation. Introducing new species has always been a challenge. In the name of the Resilience Doctrine, this document contains first data points gathered after the traditional standardized solar year of unsupervised interactions with humans and will continue to interspecies legislation. Contrary to the Gorlax Casino stakes, the humans' major source of conflict with the galactic community was not their aggressiveness, at least not among the high albledo populations. Neither was its smell, spreading disease, or supposed human proclivity to copulate everything that moves. The Gorlax Casino is currently pursuing an interplanetary lawsuit against Earthside company Crimson Point and the HFY tribe, accusing them of manipulating the data. A peculiar feature of the new Sapiens was discovered during the unsupervised standardized year. Early tests revealed nothing out of a galactic average for the Class 8 planet where Earth belongs, except an elevated tactile response. The volunteering test subjects did not react significantly to metallic or organic materials. When a Shalty technician accidentally brushed against the test subject's appendage, the neural sensors recorded a sharp spike. Discounted as an anomaly, the humans were approved for unsupervised interaction. The species incident accounts are too voluminous to mention here, and many of them are copyrighted for novelization or already being produced in audiovisual or holographic formats and various genres, especially comedy, thriller, and horror. This report will only contain introductory points for races most likely to suffer from human-specific challenges. The crucial issue. Class 8 planets are notoriously difficult places to survive, and each species come up with specific strategies. The most problematic human adaptation was dubbed the domesticating instinct, currently listed upon the Nobel Prize candidates for this year. Simply said, humans used to improve their odds of survival not only by tool making and weapons making, but also by enlisting other species to make up for their weaknesses. That is a common enough tactic, except this was not done by chemical bonding of the Velthari, or the electric neural stimulation of the Orcs. Humans, lacking such faculties, adapted their neural centers normally used for pack and familial bonding to include other species they deemed useful. Their neurology interprets certain patterns as adorable, i.e. rewardable by dopamine. The human method of conditioning other species is mostly tactile. They employ food, soothing voices and lowering posture, but their main weapon is their manipulatory appendages. Their hands lack any natural weapons except dull, vestigial claws. Those are employed to lightly scratch the victim of their interest in ways that randomly cross boundaries between reflexive spots and erotogenic zones, producing a powerful and addictive endogenous rush in the victim. The defense point raised by HFY against the Gorlax Casino lawsuit stated that they did not intend to deceive. They processed the very same topic on multiple occasions. It simply got lost among countless human war and physical prowess stories. Perhaps more exposure is needed as a warning. Species Key Incident Overview. The Urwof-human interaction. Coincidentally, this involved the species first contacted by humanity, the mighty and stalwart Urwof. The first contact is a matter of public record and described in several other volumes by prestigious authors. Far it be from me to detract from their dignity, as the galaxy relies on their sensitive noses to shield us from the treacherous Velthari. There was, however, one incident that illustrates the hidden challenges. Humans have a concept of culture shock. The culture shock always comes in multiple phases. The first one is a simple shock, the greatest differences laid bare. When this is overcome, there comes a phase of stepping on thin ice, believing one knows the hazards well enough to navigate. A third phase follows, usually embarrassing when one realizes the water is deep and freezing. Such was the incident when the senior diplomats built their bridges for younger workers to follow. Recently, the galaxy mourned the death of the Golden Agnaton, the highest figure of the Urwof theocracy, one who retrieves life, returning from the infernal abyss. Each golden Necton's passing is mourned by the whole species, and many faithful among the galaxy. Luckily, the Golden One reincarnated swiftly. We know so because this time, a human found his reborn vessel sooner than the monks and Archimonandrites of the Urwolf could. The human diplomatic delegation relaxed its standards and brought also junior officers from Earth. While the senior diplomats ironed out the last of the procedures for the interplanetary trade to begin, their subordinates were ordered to keep still at the monastery courtyard and cause no trouble. It is believed that boredom and relatively Earth-like environment of the monastery led the junior humans to relax their watchfulness. The Grand Templar assures us that the question of what constitutes a worthy juvenile is central to their faith and may not be taken lightly by laymen or heathens. If a Sophont utters the sacred question 3 times, he shall be initiated into the first order of mysteries, for such thirst for knowledge cannot be left unattended to fester. Cadet Atkins had uttered the phrase no less than 7 times. To make matters more serious, he did so while facing the true reincarnation of the Anacton. The Golden One still occupied his juvenile form, unable to speak, walk on hind legs, or wear clothing. But the sevenfold question awakened his higher self, and he became aware of his true office. As soon as the Grand Templar learned of this joyous event, Cadet Atkins was seized by the Paladins and was never seen again. The Grand Templar had mercifully permitted several letters for the human to pass through, carefully redacted as to not betray any mysteries of the tribulations. Cadet Atkins assured us that the initial purifications and ablutions were embarrassing, but not too unpleasant. The sacred hunt that followed was made difficult by his human sinfulness until he was kindly permitted to sharpen a stick and a loincloth by a special dispensation. He assures us that the murder liver is not too bad when still warm, but one has to wait for the dawn to pick up the larvae. This humble investigator failed to receive any more letters about Atkins's final test of the rites, but the Grand Templar assured us that he passed with honours, and the replacement limbs are being grown. The Meow-human interaction. What could shake a great empire such as the warlike Meow? Consider this diplomatic incident aboard the cruiser, the Bared Claw. The Bared Claw randomly met a human exploration vessel, USS Perigea, at a neutral spaceport. The human starship contacted the Bared Claw and requested an excursion. The captain, the 13th Princess Maitensu, agreed. The encounter went without any issues. Both crews were highly formal and polite, exchanged pleasantries, small gifts, and parts of the cultural database. Soon after the ships parted on friendly terms, the alarm was raised aboard the Bared Claw. 2 little nieces of the 13th Princess went missing. The younglings were not found aboard by search or by sensors. Their locators did not respond. Raising the intensity of the signals to unhealthy levels, the sensors received a faint response from the direction of the USS Perigea. Captain Maitensu wasted no time in chasing down the ship. She powered her weapons, demanding the human vessel to stand down and prepare for boarding. Whatever little diplomatic proximity was gained that day got lost as the armoured contingent of the Meow searched the primitive vehicle bow to stern. They found what they were looking for. In a secluded and cramped cabin, they found the ship's hygiene officer and the 2 little nieces of the princess. They were both in a state of undress, and the hygiene officer was touching them inappropriately. The offender was rendered unconscious by a powerful jolt of a stunner as soon as he raised his dirty hands in a threatening gesture. The following statements were extracted from the ship's sound records. "Here, kitty kitty. Come here, you beauties. Old Jenkins ain't gonna hurt you. Got something here for you. Whiskers treats. Get some from Earth. Molly likes them too. Molly is my British Shorthair. Didn't know that somebody smuggled you aboard. I miss Molly. No worries, old Jenkins not gonna space you. Don't let the captain know. Who put you in those costumes? It's cute and all, but can't be comfortable. Let me help you out. Belly rubs time. Belly rubs from old Jenkins. Who's a nice kitty? Who's good to purring? Yeah, you too. Weird. You purr like my old Buick. Whoa. Don't. I'm... The offending human hygiene officer was released after brief medical treatment. His gonads are currently held in cryogenic custody of the Meow Empire, pending the conclusion of the investigation. The shouty human interaction. The greatest threat from the domestication instinct is currently being felt by the shouty. Simply put, the shouty resemble an earth creature of a branch close to domesticated species, yet still completely wild. Its rarity and elusiveness mean that the human craving for this kind of companion is largely unsatisfied. The Shouty happen to match most parameters for the human dopamine trigger, responding for the domestication instinct. They are bipedal, semi-quadrupedal, using running gloves. They are covered by the fur of some length on their backs and tails, giving them a greater semblance of volume than their mass suggests. The Shouty evolved on reed-covered shores and sandy banks of high iron content, strewn with red algae. Their fur is ranging reddish-brown to rusty orange, up to dark yellow. There are, of course, melanistic and albino varieties. Their appendages and ears are tipped by black fur. Their chest, neck, lower jaw, and the tip of the tail are white. It doesn't help that the average Shouty only reaches 1.3 meters upright and weighs 30 kilograms. The Shouty wear little in the way of clothing, most of it designed to merge with their fur. Having eradicated the awkward shedding phase by genetic engineering some centuries ago, many wear wirelessly powered gloves for cooling and running in the above-zero environments. Some hyperboreal nudist resorts forgo even that. With Shouty, there is no factor to weaken the human domesticating instinct. Being somewhat aloof and timid, they provoke the human protective and nurturing response, despite having achieved FDL 1,000 standard years earlier. This proud species of space explorers left behind their days of hunters and tricksters of old, on their home planet. Now they are often pursued by humans, and subject to tactile conditioning they call petting, or even cuddling. Some are being punished by tickling, should they displease their human invaders. The nearest Shouty colony lies in the Vulpecula constellation, from the point of view of the human homeworld. This planet suffers from frequent human raids. When a crude human spacecraft lands, the victims are ogled mercilessly, recorded audiovisually, sometimes physically restrained, and subject to vigorous tactile conditioning, needing up to 2 days to recover from the endorphin stupor. The most stubborn band of perpetrators was finally arrested by Shouty security forces, employing the non-lethal tactic of squad tackling. The trespassers are on record making the following statements, pending full analysis. "A cuddle heap, I love it. Look at that muzzle, what a bushy tail. Scratch them behind the ears. Space foxes are so fluffy. Wow, there's no biting or stinking. Majestic forest corgi. My daughter will kill me if I don't bring one home." The invaders are currently being held in a high-security tropical facility where temperatures sometimes reach up to the dreaded 25 degrees centigrade. The humans are being put to work to provide for their considerable food expenses. The dexterous appendages prove to be a passable replacement for grooming robots, especially after manufacturing instruments requested by the humans. The combs and brushes in their hands now serve not only their fellow inmates, but also an increasing population of visitors. Their physical labour is truly menial and lasts for 12 hours a day, yet the prison medic assures the Galactic Committee that the captive humans' dopamine levels remain very high. At this point, many Sophons will ask, why are the humans being held? Under what charges? As the Shouty ambassador explained, they are classified as hostages. Their extradition is conditional upon releasing a group of abducted Shouty civilians, currently held hostage by humans, at the Balayev Institute in Novosibirsk. The Shouty aristocracy believes the inductees are subject to undignified experiments to awaken their primitive instincts. That includes chasing the ball, gnawing on human footwear, and digging burrows in dirt or sand. The humans assure us that the exposure to living fowl, banned under Shouty narcotic regulations, was purely accidental, and the babushka was fairly compensated for her flock. It is beyond the scope of support of this report to suggest solutions or preventative measures. Perhaps none are necessary. Oof, a little below. That's the spot. Stop voice dictation.